fight with Jaron Boots Ennis. It was an amazing performance. 6 round knockout. I believe that you can't please everybody, but I feel like he proved what he's made of. He proved what he's worth, and in spite of his performance with Tradizian, I feel like Jaron Boots Ennis is the goods. He is the truth. He is the real deal, and like I predicted. Well, I made two predictions. I predicted that he was gonna have to fight in the pocket and sometimes box like stay away, but he actually stayed in the pocket the whole fight, and I feel like he really pretty much dominated Staniones, and I felt like Staniones let he did what he could, but he's very flat-footed and he doesn't have the boxing IQ that Jaron Boots Ennis has. So I feel like that was the difference, and I feel that Jaron Boots Ennis performs according to how his opponent fights, the abilities that the opponent that he has brings to him. Like as long as he has a very competitive fighter, somebody that's very competitive or perceived to be competitive, he's gonna actually up his game and actually look impressive. But I feel like a boxer should always fight at their best, regardless of what kind of competition is in front of them. I feel like that, Jerome Boots Ennis, he is the truth, and I feel that a good fight would be with Brian Norman, between Brian Norman and Jerome Boots Ennis. Brian Norman is still a little green. He's still young, but give him a few more fights, and I feel like Brian Norman fight would be great versus Jerome Boots Ennis. And as far as Terence Crawford, that would be interesting to see as well. I don't know. Jerome Boots Ennis did impress me, and how would he fare against somebody like Crawford remains to be seen. But I feel like Crawford has other plans, and David Benavidez' fight was supposed to be made, but Bivol chose to fight the trilogy with Bertabiev, and I can't blame him for that because he's gonna make money with the trilogy. But then I believe that it's possible that he can come down and fight Benavidez after that to get the belt that he vacated because he has to, he wanted to fight Bertabiev instead. I feel like that, the fight's still gonna be made between Benavidez and Bivol, but I feel like Bivol did the right thing as far as like his career. Like he wanted to take the trilogy. A lot of people want to watch that trilogy, and I feel like that fight is something that the fans want, and he can actually have a little bit of leverage based on being the accomplishments. Being a champion in that weight class, and fighting 3 times with Bertabiev, and it will give him some kind of leverage in the negotiating table when he fights Benavidez. I feel that's a good fight, and if Benavidez, beats Bivol, which I believe is going to be a competitive fight, but I think Benavidez wins that fight, then he could prove a point and make his case to get a Canelo fight. But I don't know if Canelo's going to want to fight, Benavidez, no matter what he does or what he accomplishes in the ring, because Canelo has silly excuses to not fight him. Jerome Boots Ennis is the truth. I definitely want to see him fight Brian Norman eventually. That would be an interesting fight. But I always had a feeling that, I expected Staniones to give him more of a fight. I didn't expect Jerome Boots Ennis to actually dominate him the way that he did, in spite of getting hit a few times. I still feel like, he is a type of fighter that has great defense, but he wants to impress the crowd as well, Jerome Boots Ennis. So I feel like that could be counterproductive for him against somebody like Terence Crawford or Brian Norman. I feel that maybe he just adjusts according to that the boxer's ability, but he is hittable, but at the same time he is not hittable. Like he does have a lot of ability, but he hasn't he probably didn't feel the need to do it with Staniones, but he'll probably up his game against a more technical, dangerous fighter like Brian Norman. Yeah, subscribe to my channel. Tony also knows boxing. Subscribe to my channel. Tony also knows boxing. Subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm getting there. I appreciate everybody tuning in. How you doing, Valerie Martinez? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you. Let everybody know about Tony Also Knows Boxing. My channel's growing, and I need all the people that engage with me to subscribe if they like my channel and they like my content. But yeah, boxing. There's some competitive fights out there, and I feel like the Barbosa fight. Oh, somebody's calling me at the wrong time. I feel like the Barbosa fight between Barbosa and Teofimo Lopez. I think Barbosa's gonna upset Teofimo Lopez, and if he doesn't get the victory, they're gonna rob Barbosa. That's my prediction. Lopez, somebody competitive because a lot of easy fights and he still didn't look good. So now it's time for him to step up his game and show what he's made of if he believes in himself. Teofimo Lopez. Lopez should fight Ken Carson. Lopez should fight Wilma Dickford. I don't want to entertain that. Anyway, subscribe to my channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Lopez should fight Subriel Matias. He's ducking him, and I feel Hitchinson is also ducking Subriel Matias, and now he's giving all this smoke to Kambosos, saying he's going to retire him, but I don't see him having the same energy for Subriel Matias. So I think he's a hypocrite. Hitchinson, he's a hypocrite. I know, Ken Carson, only joking, brother love. Nah, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the the comment was funny. Thanks, you made me smile. I made your day, you made my day. We all got to encourage each other and make each other laugh, give each other knowledge, and give each other nice energy. So that way, when you get, you could get through your day. If you're working right now, you're your lunch break, and you receive some positive boxing news, and I gave you something to laugh about. You gave me something to laugh about. We're all here to engage with each other. Now, thanks for tuning into my channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Subscribe to my channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Who do you think Teofimo Lopez should fight? I just want your feedback. Who do you think Teofimo Lopez should fight, and who do you think Jaron Boots Ennis should fight? Give me your feedback on the comments right now, or just send me a comment on the comment section. I appreciate Jay O'Brien. I'm gonna send you $500 or five bucks. I don't think you're gonna give me 500, but if you want to, okay, fine. But $5, I appreciate. Thanks for tuning in, Jay O'Brien. I appreciate you. Thanks for the love. Thanks. Subscribe to my channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Jay O'Brien, have a great day. Ken Carson, have a great day. Valerie Martinez, have a great day. Subscribe to my channel. Tony Also Knows Boxing. Yes. So who do you think Jaron Boots Ennis should fight after his impressive performance against staniones? And who do you think Teofimo Lopez should fight? And who do you think Canelo Alvarez should fight? He's fighting Skull. Never heard of him. He's a Cuban fighter, and I think he has one loss, and he has boxing ability, but Canelo's just juicing his career. He's basically taking advantage of the fact that he's no longer in his prime, and he's fighting people like Belanga and Munguia, and trying to make it seem like he gave a great fighter a chance when he says that David Benavidez doesn't deserve to fight him because he hasn't done nothing. But David Benavidez is more deserving than somebody like Belanga or Munguia. What have they done? What has Jay Skull done? Well, he's a champion, but just because he's a champion, that doesn't mean that he's an elite fighter. And I feel like Canelo contradicts himself, and he needs to step it up and fight David Benavidez. David Benavidez has been ranked #1 a long time in his division, and he ducked him for like 2 years plus. So I feel like Canelo is a sucker. Canelo needs to step up his game and give the fans what they want. He don't care about his fans. He does not care about his fans. Subscribe to Tony Also Knows Boxing. Subscribe to Tony Also Knows Boxing. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Have a great day. One love. Tony Also Knows Boxing. One love.